My parents never gave me cooking lessons, but they taught me how to cook. Since it was always there, you couldn't help but pick it up. Even when I am casually cooking, I'm always writing. I've always had a kitchen notebook. I've always used it as a way to keep track of what's going on in our lives. There's carrot cake that says, made for the occasion of Grandma's birthday, and this is what I did differently, and this is what she liked about it. I never cooked Indian food. When I started out, I never did that because my parents were such phenomenal cooks. It was only when I had kids, I wanted to have those flavors in our home in a really real way. I said, I have to learn to make these recipes and I have to be good at them. Why is it I do it this way? Why do I use that type of bowl? The reason is that's what works best. When I take my mom's recipe and she tells me, no, that's the wrong pan, I believe her because I know that she probably tried it in that pan and it didn't work. And it's that collected history of cooking that informs so many of the decisions that I make in the kitchen. It's amazing to me that butter can turn into so many things. It can make cookies that are crispy, cakes that are moist and light and fluffy. At the same time, it has such a significance when it comes to different cultures. In Indian culture, it turns into this golden elixir called ghee. It's cooked for 25-35 minutes, as slow and as low as you can so it has just the barest of bubbles. And you strain it off. What you're left with is the pure butter fat. So it's bringing it to the essence of its flavor. It makes you feel like you've done some sort of kitchen magic. When it comes to things like ghee, I like the time it takes because that's what it takes to do it right. Yellow dal, mung dal, was the most frequent dal that I had growing up. Dal's not complicated, but it becomes the center of the meal, it's the heart of the meal. Sometimes actually the mortar, if you're eating with your hands, it's what holds together everything else on your plate. And there we go, it cooks till it's tender. This is called the tarka, or tempering. And you cook off onions in ghee, and I add most of this to the dal. I like to keep a little bit back to stir through at the end. Naan is an Indian bread. You usually will use it as a matter of conveyance, for lack of a better term, with curries and dal and things like that. If you're making naan in advance, or you know you're going to have extra, if you put ghee in it, it'll last longer. I often say I'm happy if someone makes my recipe once and then never makes it again because the next time they make it their own. You might like more salt. You might like ghee in your dough. I like mincing up fresh garlic with some cilantro, or dhania as I like to call it, and then brushing the naan with that. In any of my recipes, only half of their life is on the page. Their real life and their important life is the life that they have in your kitchen. And only you can do that, because this is my half of the conversation, so I'm waiting to hear from what you're adding to it. You need a good balance.